In this session, let's learn about some commonly used XPath predicates. Predicates are the expression that we specify in square brackets along with XPath. We can use it to select a particular element with an HTML tag and also with an attribute. Now take a look at this XPath //input at the right ID. This selects all input elements that have an attribute ID. Here we have one more XPath //input at the right ID equals fname. This selects all input elements that have an ID attribute with value fname. Now let's go to our sample application and see how they work. Okay, so here I'm going to type the XPath //input, and within square bracket let's specify the predicate at the right and then ID. Okay, so this is selecting 15 elements, right? So all of them have the HTML tag input and there is an ID attribute here, right? So you can find an ID attribute here. Okay, all right, now let's try the second predicate that we have learned. So we can specify a value for the attribute as well. Okay, that is at the right ID equals, we can specify a value. Okay, we can say fname. All right, now take a look at here. This is selected one element, and we can take a look at here. So this element has the HTML tag input and there is an ID attribute and its value is fname. Now let's see how we can use index as the predicate. So we have two examples here. In the first case, // a of 1. Okay, so this one selects the first a element among all child elements of each parent node. Whereas in the second case, this one selects the first a element in the entire HTML document. Let's go to our sample site and let's see how they work. All right, here I'm going to type // a. So you can see that there are 4 A elements in this HTML document. Okay, and let's give some index now. So I'm gonna give within square bracket 1. Okay, so now you can see that it has located 3 elements. Okay, and let's see how it works. So let's see the highlighted item. This is located, right? So you can see that for the parent div, there are 2 children with HTML tag A, right? And the first one is selected. So here in this XPath, there is a relation between the parent and child. Okay, it's based on that a particular element is selected. So what this says is, for any of the nodes available in this HTML document, if there are some A children, then the first child should be selected. All right. Now let's see the second item selected by this. So let's click the down arrow and inspect the second item here. So here there is an element for which there is a child element A. Okay, there is only one child here, right? So that is selected. And now let's go to the third one located. So here for this particular element, there is a child element and that's the first one. Only that is available. So that is also selected. The only one which is not selected is this one, because this is the second child of div. So that won't be selected because our condition is to select the first one, right? To select the first child. Now let's try the second index predicate that we learned. For that, we need to use the parenthesis. Okay, so now here let's specify an index 1. Okay, and now you can see that it has uniquely identified one element, showing 1 of 1, right? So that means in this whole HTML document, it has selected the first A element. So there is no relation with the parent here, right? All right. And if you need to pick the second one, then you have to change the index as 2. Now it has picked the second HTML element with tag A. So likewise, you can change the index and you can uniquely identify whatever element that you need to find out. Let's try with 3 and it's picking the third one. Now let's see how we can use the position as a predicate. So you can see two examples here. The first one, we are specifying the exact position, just like index. Okay. In the second case, we are using a greater than symbol. Okay. You can use greater than or less than. Let's see how we can use it in our sample web app. Okay. Let's find the element / input, and then I'm going to specify an attribute name equals gender. All right. Okay, so you can see that we have 3 radio buttons here. So we are targeting these radio buttons, and here you can see the elements, okay, corresponding to that. So there are 3 elements available, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now let's locate the first one with the position predicate. Okay, so within square bracket, I'm going to use the predicate position of equals 1. Okay, so it's uniquely identifying the first element matching the criteria input at the right name equal to gender. All right, so this is almost like the index. We can specify an index, right? So it's almost like that because it's taking the first children of any element matching this criteria. All right, now here you can change the position values, and you can choose different elements in this. Now we have more flexibility here. So rather than specifying the equals, you can say greater than 1. So now you can see that it is selecting 2 elements, 1 of 2, right? So this one is selected and the second one is this one. Okay, all right, so the first one won't be selected because its position is 1, but our condition is like greater than 1. So likewise, you can have like less than as well. So we have more flexibility in position compared to index. Now let's see how we can use the last of function as the predicate. You can directly use the last of to find the last child element, or you can use some expression like last of -1 so that it will find the second last child element. So let's go to our sample web page and apply these two. Okay, so for the same element, let's apply last of. So what I'm going to do is, instead of position, I'm going to type last of function, and you can see that it's finding one element uniquely, right? It's showing 1 of 1. So you can see that the last element is found here. Okay, so we have 3 radio buttons, and out of that the third one is found. It's located uniquely. Now if you want the second last one, you can say -1. Okay, so it's identifying the second last child element.